my realtor has no offers, and can you guys do what you do? We're probably going to pivot to a sub 2 on this from a lease purchase because she wants out yesterday and has run out of money and time. 2 months ago, a little cocky. So just time. And all we did is have conversations. I wanted to review for you guys, and then I'm going to turn it over to you guys. I'll ask you if it'd be helpful. Would it be helpful to show the quadrant? I just drew it out on my iPad, but the quadrant we used to call for owner financing and talk about scripts around that. Would it be helpful?
Yes.
Because if we get nothing else out of this skill set wise, now this is going micro compared to what we were talking about. If we get nothing else out of it, let's be super comfortable talking owner financing and sellers and the different ways we can talk to them. Let me find this. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
And you see just the quadrants?
Yes.
In the secret weapon course.
Yep, I'm going to remind you of that. That's it. Well, let me say that now. I said I want everybody going into next year hopeful, confident, and excited to be in control of your own biz and life. If you haven't gone through the secret weapon course in certainly a year, but even if you haven't gone through it in 6 months, that'd be a great revisit, in my opinion, for year end. If you don't want to know what it is, yell. So I can't see everybody when I'm sharing my screen.
I'll say, I don't think I've ever heard of that one.
It's right.
Me neither.
It's in the academy. Kim, if for some reason it's not automatically in the academy and it's by request only, can you make sure? Let's make sure it gets accessed by all the high 6 for sure. If it's not already in there.
You got it.
Thank you. This is a little background, guys. Some of you know him. A friend of ours, Ed Rush, reconvened with him last 2 weeks ago, him on the podcast. But he's an ex-fighter pilot. He was at our 2018 QLS as the keynote. Quite a energetic, great speaker. His story's amazing as a fighter pilot. He's written 2 books. If someone can Google his first book, I want to say it's 21 Days something or other. It's really good. His second book is God Talks. Someone gifted me that, so I felt compelled to read it just because of the energy. Someone gifted it to me, and then I had Ed on the podcast. So he did that secret weapon course with Nick.
The 21 Day Miracle.
What is it?
The 21 Day Miracle.
Yes. If you haven't read that book by Ed, great book for year end. There's all good, a lot of good year end stuff here coming up organically. And then if you want, you're not prejudging the title, pick up God Talks. It's all mindset. He just slanted it to be God, but it's universe and energy is all it is. That's my take on it. I have completed that, so I would tell you that it was a cool read. I know Ed, so I know his mind space and what he trains on and how he programs the brain.
He also has another one, Chris, that Rick would like. Take the shot, Top Gun.
Oh, he had Ed Rush does?
Yeah, it says Ed Rush.
Oh, wow, must be an older one. What year?
2015.
Yeah, okay, cool. I'll have to ask him why he's holding out on me. All right. All right, so that's Secret Weapon, and he doesn't train on it anymore, guys. He's taking a different path, but you'll see he spent some filming time with Nick and Zach mostly after that event he was at, and he also did the spring event that year. So we spent a lot of time with him, and it's all like, I don't want to say manipulation, but it's all technique because it's all meant for the better. You're not supposed to use that in a negative sense. And that will increase your confidence, as will our scripts, right? But if you marry the two together, you're going to love his training. And again, he's not hard to listen to. He's got a lot of energy. So go through that. I would love to, in the next, I don't know, month or so, Rusty and Mike and Kim, if you can remind me, please, we'll put on the agenda for like maybe before Thanksgiving, the week of the coaching calls, and we'll go over what the ahas were from that course. That'd be fun.
Okay, will do.
And you guys will be entertained. Thanks, Kim. You guys will be entertained and watching too. It's not boring. Okay. So let's pivot. This is the owner financing quadrant. If you want to scribble that down, then I'll take it off the screen so I can see you guys. Because I want you guys to be comfortable playing around with this. I literally have said to sellers, okay, picture a quadrant, or do you have a pen? Draw this. And said, I can give you 2 out of 3 if they're not bringing up the 4th. That's why I have it in parentheses. Because usually it's going to be price, monthly, and term, right? And I don't bring up the down or the interest, but I stuck in another quadrant because some do, as you know, right? So when you're talking the three, I just say, draw these three things that he's paid for. I got to know which one's most important. I can't give you all three. That wouldn't be a fair deal. It's such a, like, what seller is going to say, well, that's what I want. I want a completely unfair deal all slanted to me. And if they do, then you're off the call. So I literally have used it. Thoughts on this quadrant? It came up on accident on one of the authority sessions that Steven and I did with a High Six member, actually. So although I love it, I can't take credit for it, and I have not trademarked it.
Yeah, Rusty has talked about that on a couple of calls, and it was helpful. I was on a call yesterday. He's like, I want a big down payment, and I want this price. And I'm like, well, you got to figure out what do you want more of? You know, what's most important?
So you already put it in play. Nice. Nice. Jeff, I don't know if you've already done it, but that'd be a cool call to hear. Any call where you were able to put that into play would be a cool one while we're on the subject with everybody, right? Quadrant.
Yeah. I'm setting up REI Black Book this week. I haven't recorded calls because I hadn't found a way to do it yet, but this week I'll start.
Well, if I can figure out, I know you can.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure. Okay. Any questions on the quadrant or thoughts? Or do you want to script some stuff out? What do you think?
Do you find, Chris, that if you don't bring up the down payment or the interest, maybe like how often does it eventually come up? Like it might be a first, doesn't come up on a first call or a second call, but do you find that it comes up half the time by the end of the conversation?
Yeah. It's hard for it not to, especially if they know what owner financing is, right? But then you'll use a variation of the most of the sellers we deal with don't need a small, the keywords, don't need a small down payment. They'd prefer to max out their price over time. And it's funny because sometimes you'll get the knee-jerk reaction, well, I don't need it. Okay, great. So let's talk about the other three, right? So, and if not, they go, no, I need it. And okay, why? And then I've heard Rusty train on that a million times. You dig down why they need it and get that number down.
Yeah. Yeah, and I found that some of it is, we at least need some of it to be able to move on, to pay for the moving or to pay for a down payment or, first and last or something like that. So they at least need some of it. So that's what I'm struggling with trying to figure out, like, how much is worth it. I guess each deal sort of stands.
Ask them. How much do you need?
Yeah.
Why?
What and what? Yeah.
And let's position that, guys. So Rusty's spot on, and I want you to be in a spot where you don't sound like crass in any way to them. So, the way I say what Rusty used to ask him is, so what would you be using that for? Just in case I have ideas. That's what I always say. Just in case I have ideas, because then it's not. Well, what are you doing with it? Why? They get defensive. That's more, give me what you think you're doing. Maybe I have some other ideas for, I don't know. Let's brainstorm. And now you're on their team. You're not against them. You're not banging heads. Other thoughts besides Jeff on this quadrant / owner financing scripts?
Yeah, that's a good way to say it too, because like you said, it does soften it. And I mean, Chris, you remember that we were looking at a HELOC and then we ended up with nothing down.
Yeah, they wanted $250,000. So
yeah,
there's been a lot of those in the community. Didn't Rusty and Mike, didn't Rick have one, or maybe one of his students had one where they started at 100 and it got it down, maybe one of you guys, I don't know, got it down to like 5 or 10 or something stupid by digging.
I had an AO one time that Rick helped me with. The guy asked for $100,000 down, and it ended up he wanted 0 down at the end when Rick was done talking to him. So
0, even better.
yeah, he's like, no, I don't need it. I'll take the payments. Like, okay.
Yep. You guys, I don't want to candy coat either. You'll get the opposite. I just did a call this morning. I think I recorded it. I was trying to barrel through some of my old calls this morning. I had a gap. We got off our meeting early. And no matter what I said to this guy, he's like, nope. Oh, no, thanks. No, I asked it 4 or 5 different ways. But then he went from I'm taking it out the market permanently to when I reconfirmed, okay, so you don't want me to come back, you take this up? Yeah, I'm taking it off till at least summer. So now he's already back on in summer. So you just got to keep digging nicely.
Mm-hmm.
As we did, we didn't have a time for a ton of calls last week, but we did some good live calls here. That was a nice variety. And all we did is ask questions and have conversation. Steve mentioned AO. The conversation that Jeff and Rusty and I just had about the owner financing does lead you maybe to AO then, right? So the script leads you right into AO if they absolutely do need it and it's clear after you talk to them that they're not doing it without it, but they still want to move, et cetera, then you can play around the AO idea.
And Chris, you said the first question is some sellers need a small down payment and others prefer to maximize their total, how did you say that?
Price over time. So,
The sellers that we buy from don't need a small down payment. They prefer to maximize, so they don't need a small.
I had it backwards.
Sorry, Chris. Go.
no, you're good. Because I didn't catch what I know that. Don't need is almost like they want to compete with that person in their ego. Well, I don't need that. I don't need it. Their ego just blows up. Or not. So I didn't have this in my notes to talk about, but around this getting confident, hopeful, everything about the beginning of the call here, it's probably worth a revisit or some cycle of revisiting, not just the secret weapon, but simultaneously having you cycle through on a schedule. Like if it's 10 minutes a day or 15 minutes every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you make it up. You come up, you get into the scripts channel, the scripts and dialogues channel. If you've already gone through, presumably the seller course at least 3 or 4 times minimum, then start going to the script channel, which are new calls. Like I posted a couple last week. You guys, it's repetition. I want to say this because Judy and Steve and some others were in the room with me last week, John, and there were 2 calls at least that I go, I didn't ask that, and that. Like I didn't we were on a roll and I didn't ask it. It's called normal. Like they don't know that, right? So I post calls to the script channel just so you hear. It's just normal stuff that I don't nail the script every time. No one's prepper. Can't. But if they're super motivated, guess what? They're calling you. Like, here's an update. Some of you heard me talk about Alex. And is Alex on here, by the way?
No.
What's he thinking about?
Closing the deal.
Yeah, I was just working on a deal this morning. Okay, so maybe he didn't know. Kim, I'm assuming Alex, last name begins with an N. I think it's NGU.
When?
I'm assuming he's on here, but if Mike or Rusty could ping him. Anyway, the girl that started off thinking he was, you were scam or you using Chris's company's name and all this stuff, she's lighting me up now because we let her sit and we do have a true solution for her. As Reese says this morning, she said, I'm getting frustrated. My realtor has this calls in the script channel too from the initial. My realtor has no offers and can you guys do what you do? We're probably going to pivot to a sub 2 on this from a lease purchase. Because she wants out yesterday and is running out of money and time. 2 months ago, a little cocky. So just time. And all we did is have conversations.